everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. So the Squid Game has literally taken over Netflix the past like 2 or 3 weeks now. It has been crazy. I binge watched it over a couple of days or so and it's brutal, it's intense, but it is so good. So I thought I would take a Formula 1 spin on it and I would put all 20 Formula 1 drivers theoretically in the Squid Game to see who would come out on top, who would come mid-pack and who would win that cash prize. So before I get on into the video and talk you through who I think is going to be where, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I just thought I'd do this. I just thought, do you know what, Squid Game, Formula 1, let's mix the two together and let's make a YouTube video. Okay, so coming in at number 20 is player 22 and that is Yuki Tsunoda. I just think Yuki is too small for literally any of the tasks. Like, I'm thinking he's quite hot-headed, so he would panic in the honeycomb one when they have to cut out a shape. He would fail at the tug of war. I think he would fail at the red light, green light. I just think in every stage, Yuki just would not be good enough. So unfortunately, I think that was one that probably people were to expect. Yuki is out first out of everyone. Now coming in at number 19 is player 4 and that is Lando Norris. I just feel like Lando, I don't know, because he's good on like a video game, which I know is not the same thing, but I feel like he would panic and he would scream. And at the stages where, say, red light, green light, where you need to be still, he would laugh or he would move and he would just be out. I don't think he could stay still and have like the refrain of like moving. So I think Lando is going to be out very soon as well. And he's tiny as well. So I just don't feel like he'd have the pull if he was to get to like tug of war or something like that. So unfortunately, Lando Norris, you are 19th. In number 18, we have player 16 and that is Charles Leclerc. I don't think it's necessarily the stamina or the power that he hasn't got. I genuinely think it's the brain power. Like some of the things he says in these like Ferrari challenges. Chicken! Or just challenges he does and we see him online. I just think sometimes that brain power and that, you know, common sense, shall we say, is lacking a little bit within Charles Leclerc. So I feel like if there was a situation where he really needed to use his brain, or maybe in a challenge like in the marbles game, I just don't think he would quite do it. So I think he would be a weakest link there. In 17th, we have got player 9 and that is Nikita Mazepin. Again, I don't think Nikita would be bad like in terms of his physique, but I feel like he would try to push the buttons. Now forgive me because I know watch the Squid Games in English and not Korean, so I did not pick up on everyone's names quite as well as I should have done because apparently the translations were like really bad. So there was a player on there, and if you've watched it you know what I mean, who was quite a rough and ready guy. He had a relationship with a girl in there and they ended up dying together. I feel like Nikita would kind of be someone like that, but without getting as far as he did, if that makes sense. Like I feel Nikita would try and push the rules. He would try to get there as soon as possible. He would do things that he shouldn't do. Kind of like how he does in a blue flag situation or in any situation on the track. He'll always push his luck, but it'll eventually bite him on the bum. And that's what I think is going to happen. And I think he'll end up being too confident, being too cocky, push the rules, push the buttons and die. In number 16th, we have got player 99 in Antonio Giovinazzi. Now, this may shock you. You may think that he should be higher than this, but I just think from Antonio, like if we take his performances on track, they're always quite mediocre and we always know what we're going to get from Antonio. So that's why I kind of think that's what he's going to do in the Squid Game as well. Like I feel like he'll take everything that he's got and just put it into it, but like what he's got isn't that much. Does that make sense? So I feel like he would be mediocre, he would be okay, but I think he'd just be one of the people that just go. Like if there's a big mass of people that are going to like be eliminated, he's gonna be one of them. In 15th place, we have got number 7 in Kimi Räikkönen. And Kimi, again, I don't think he'd do bad, but I think he would genuinely get to the point in there where he would just give up and would just eliminate himself. Like, I really just don't think he would want to last the whole way through to the end. He doesn't see money as an object in any form, whether that's real life or, you know, in his real job. So I just think he would look at the situation and be like, do you know what? I don't need this. I don't need it. So Kimi, 15th. Now coming in 14th, it is player 31 in Esteban Ocon. I don't quite think he's got the physique to do this. And I feel like he would try. He wouldn't be the worst. But I think if it came down to it, like again, if he was doing tug of war, I don't think he'd last 2 minutes. Like, I really don't. I feel like he's got a lot of mental power and I'm sure he maybe would be able to do marbles or something like that. But I think if it was actually like tug of war, it's not happening for you, Esteban. Like, it's not, you're out. Now 13th is player 11 and that is Checo Perez. Now Checo, I do think would be great. I think he'd have great brain power. I think he's a very clued on guy. I think he'd be very good in that sense, but I just feel like his height would slightly let him down. I feel like if you've got a stronger team that's taller, even if they have kind of a similar muscle mass, I just feel like he would slightly lose out because he's just such a tiny character. If it comes to a physical challenge or a physical game, I really think he would lose out. So unfortunately, Sergio Perez is 13th. And coming in just above him in 12th is player 77 in Valtteri Bottas. Pretty much a similar reason to Sergio Perez. I think they're similar. They're a similar build, they're a similar height, and I feel like they would both try their best and they would do quite well. And I think they'd do good mentally as well in a mental game. But when it came down to it physically, I don't think they've quite got the edge over some of the other guys. Coming in at number 11 is player 10, and that is Pierre Gasly. I think Pierre is all round quite a good person. I feel like he's got a lot of brain power. He's got quite a good physique. Obviously, he's not the tallest, but he's not the shortest, so he's like mid-pack. But I just don't think he would have the absolute edge over some people. Like, I think there's a lot of people that would literally just wipe the floor with him, and like they'd think of something that maybe he didn't think of. And I think that's kind of how he would be eliminated, there would be a trick. And I think even maybe he would be eliminated like in his sleep. Like we saw that in Squid Game. You literally couldn't go to sleep because people would attack you and eliminate you. So that's why I feel like Pierre wouldn't last. I feel like maybe he would go to sleep, or he would try to protect somebody else, and in doing so he would hurt himself and get eliminated. Now coming in 10th, which is mid-pack, is player 63, and that is George Russell. Again, he's got a similar physique to Esteban Ocon, but I just think he's slightly got the edge in everything. Like I feel like he's just slightly a little bit further up in a lot of things, and I feel like he would slightly get a little bit higher. I feel like he could outwit some people, which I think would get him there, but I think overall there are just more people that could play games with him. And again, he could be similar to Pierre, where he gets in his sleep because, you know, he would just rely, or he would be too nice, or he would be too generous and help other people, and then he would get eliminated. So that's what I think about George Russell. Coming in at number 9 is player 47, which is Mick Schumacher. I think Mick would be a great alliance to somebody, and I think he would be really good, and he would protect you. He would be like the main character in Squid Game, actually, and I think he would really help you protect you, but also still be really strong. I think he'd be very good at that honeycomb game, so I think he's got a lot of precision, and I think he would be able to cut out the umbrella in the honeycomb, and I just feel like he would have a lot. Again, he could be somebody that could be backstabbed because of the generosity that he has. I think overall he would do quite well, and he would make his way up there and be probably like near the last couple of games, maybe like game 4. Coming in at number 8 is 18, and that is Lance Stroll. Now I think Lance would do very well physically at the Squid Game, and most of the time the Squid Game is all about physique. I think he would do very well because I think physically he has the strength to do this, and I think a lot of the games are to do with strength, so I definitely think Lance would be able to do this. I just think he probably, if it was coming down to the last bit of it, I feel like he might be outwitted, or maybe on the glass game, we had to pick a glass. I feel like he'd probably pick the one there, because I don't think he would pick the right one. I feel like that would be something that would catch him out, because he wouldn't know the answer to that. But I think generally Lance would be quite good at the Squid Game, but I think something like that where you really can't tell, it's kind of a guessing game, I just feel like he'd lose out on, and maybe he wouldn't like look properly, or he just wouldn't have the best of luck, or something like that. Coming in at number 7 is player 6, and that is Nicholas Latifi. Now he's probably higher up than a lot of people think, but honestly, do not underestimate Nicholas Latifi. I feel like generally just all round he's got a very good mindset, he's got a very good physique. I feel like he's very strong. I feel like he could probably make it quite far. I feel like he could be quite a dark horse going through this games, and I feel like he could be someone that is left at the end that maybe you wouldn't think of. Maybe like the Glass Man, take for example. He was like the fourth player in the actual program. Sorry, I don't know anyone's name, so that's quite bad. But he was like one of the last players, and that's what I think would happen with Nicholas Latifi. He would get really far, be a dark horse right to the end, but unfortunately probably just make a wrong decision at the end, and he would be eliminated. We are coming into our last 6 now, and in 6th place we have got player 3, and that is Max Verstappen. Now Max, I feel like, could play games similarly to Nikita Mazepin. However, I think he could succeed a lot better than Nikita would. I feel like he could play games right to the end. Like, I feel like he would get someone in their sleep, he would eliminate someone in their sleep. I feel like he would just go around and do things like that, and I honestly feel like he would be really good at this game. Like, I feel like he would be ruthless and people would be very scared of him. But I think when it came down to it, if it was probably something that had needed more, I'm not saying common sense, but if it needed something that had a little bit more brain power, I think his first urge would be just to go. But when you just go, it's not always going to work. So maybe he might die on the Nicholas Latifi stage as well, which is the glass one, because he might just think, oh, I'm just going to go for this, and step on the wrong glass and be eliminated. Coming in at 5th is number 44, and it is Sir Lewis Hamilton. Now, as much as Lewis is pretty much the same height as Perez and they were all the way down there, I feel like Lewis has a good physique, but also he has such a good mind game. We all know Lewis and his mind game. He is very, very good in his mind, his mental state. He's very good at controlling it, and I feel like he could do that. I think a lot of people we saw in Squid Game would even eliminate themselves because they couldn't deal with it, and I feel like Lewis would never let that get to him, and he would ensure that he could really keep his mindset, and he would be able to play the right mind games with the right people. Maybe in marbles as well, he could really play his right, play the mind games, outwit somebody and win. So that's why I think Lewis has made his way all the way up here, and I feel like when, he's got good strength as well, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that mind game would really take him the extra level, but again, we'll make it all the way to the end. Now, player number 4 is 55 in Carlos Sainz. Now, Carlos Sainz, as I said, it's really hard coming to the top of this because some of these are really good. He's just got an all-round really good package. I feel like his physique is very good. However, sometimes there's a certain off moments with Carlos where he'll just have a really dumb moment or he'll say something really dumb, and I feel like that would catch him out in the Squid Game. I feel like there'd be a round that he'd be playing, he'd been doing so well the whole time, and then something just catches him out, and I couldn't think what it would be, but something would just catch him out, and that would be the end for him. Don't know what it would be. I feel like it would be something very silly for him and very unfortunate. So unfortunately, that's what would happen with Carlos, but he would make it quite far, but something would just happen. Now, coming in at number 3, we are in our podium positions. We are into the final, and this is player 14, Fernando Alonso. Now, Fernando, as I said with Max and Nikita, I think he would play some good games and he would really get himself up there, and ultimately he has played a better game than Max and Nikita because he is in P3. He's the last 3 there. I feel like he would I'm going to forget everyone's names. I think his name was Sonji, was it? The player who came 2nd in Squid Game. I feel like Alonso would kind of be like him, he'd always be on the watch out for him. He would kind of be someone that would want to be your friend but then would backstab you at the same time, and I feel like that would be something that Alonso would do. He'd play a very good game with you. He would get past you. He doesn't care if he's going to regain your trust and then break it. But I do feel like, however, Alonso would kind of switch places with the girl who died in the last 3, and he would actually get stabbed, and he would be eliminated by somebody else that he least expects it from. I feel like because he's so caught up in his own head and he's so I know what I'm doing, I'm looking around, he would just miss something and then he would be eliminated and he wouldn't make the final 2. So we've got 2nd and 1st place coming up. So I am going to bring up 1st place first, because if not, you are just going to know it. So we've got either Daniel Ricciardo or Sebastian Vettel left, and the winner of the Squid Game for Formula 1 is Sebastian Vettel. Okay, now Sebastian Daniel, that was very, very difficult to do either one of them. I was just oh my god, which one could it be? Because they've both got great stamina, they've both got great physique. I feel like Daniel, as much as Daniel's a joker, he could stay focused in serious situations, and I think that's where a lot of other drivers couldn't, and he can really hold his head where some other people can't. So it was very difficult for me to pick between these two. The only thing that was slightly get me is Daniel Ricciardo, sometimes he just forgets things. Take, for example, a couple of years ago in France, he was fighting with Romain Grosjean on the track, and he literally couldn't even remember he was fighting Romain Grosjean. So I feel like dips like that in his remembrance, is that a word? In his memory, that's the one I'm looking for. In his memory, oh my gosh, my vocabulary is disgusting. I feel like that would make Seb slightly have the edge, because I just think Seb has got the whole package. I can't even lie to you. I feel like Seb has got such a good mentality, and I feel like he is really strong and he would win over other people as well. But I think another thing which we forget about, because there've just been so many different Sebastians I think we've seen over the past 10 years, but just remember, we could go back to Sebastian's rebel days when he was a rebel. He can still get that side out of him, and I know he's got it in him. Therefore, I feel like this could, if he takes every different element of Seb over the last decade and put himself together, that's a winning personality amongst Squid Game if I was you. So I think overall, if it was Daniel or Seb, Seb could be Daniel, look over there, and then he'd look, and then that's it. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like Daniel would come in P2 and Seb would come at P1 and win the Squid Game and all of the money, and he'd probably do exactly like the main character did in Squid Game and just not spend the money, and then dye his hair red. So there we have it. That is it for today's video, and those were where I thought the Formula 1 drivers would place if they played the Squid Game. Do let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this video. Just thought it was a little bit different, thought it was something that I could do. Let me know if you've watched Squid Game or if you haven't. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I thought it was great. Very gruesome at some points, and I cried my eyes up in some of the episodes as well, to be honest. Very emotional person, but I just thought I'd do something a little bit different on my channel. Do let me know again in the comment section below what you thought. Like this video, subscribe, and I will see you again soon for another video. Bye.